Welcome to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. If you would like to support this channel, please hit the like button and consider subscribing if you enjoy the content. And now, let's start with the first story. It's called Stupid Inc. I work for a small local security company. We mainly do oil, gas and logging roads. I typically work pipeline security, but I'm between sites at the moment waiting for spring breakup. This is when the ground starts to thaw and heavy equipment and trucks can't operate because this is swampland. Before breakup, they've got a 24/7 log haul happening on one of the big logging roads in our area. Because of this, traffic going against the log trucks is being restricted by us. I sit down at the far end of the log road and control who can go through the wrong way. This is limited to 3 companies and their subcontractors, because their sites are close to my end of the road and they don't interfere with log trucks. Any company that is in violation of this rule receives a $10,000 fine, and their road use privileges are affected. In this case, they can still only travel one way on the road once the breakup hits, and the log haul has to stop until the logging company says otherwise. One company in particular has been one massive pain this whole time. Let's call them Stupid Inc. Now, Stupid Inc.'s site sits about halfway down the log road. They have to go down to the far end of the road and drive in the same direction as the log trucks. They don't bother telling their subcontractors this, so all day, every day, I'm busy turning these guys away. One morning last week, this big pickup pulls up. I asked the usual, "Where are you headed?" He gave me the kilometer number of where the site is. It's Stupid Inc. Only he gives me a different company name, a subcontractor. We'll call that one Prick Company. I informed the guy that he couldn't go this way, and he lost it. Starts cursing and swearing, yelling about how it's complete BS and I shouldn't be allowed to do this. He tells me he's gone this way down the road plenty of times when he's not working, and it's never been an issue. The thing is that private users, so just regular people, are technically allowed. Legally speaking, we can't stop them, as roads are public to a degree. Private users are allowed to use the road, though we strongly caution against it. Alright then, I'm a private user, and you can't stop me. You just told me that you are here for work. But alright, if you say so, you have been warned. And he floors it down the road. What followed was a 4-day manhunt. I immediately notified the road patrol supervisor, as well as road patrol, and my boss. I was asked questions for 4 days while they tried to identify this guy. Because he said he was going to work for Stupid Inc., they got hit with the fine. Of course, this didn't go over well with them either. The next thing I know, the site superintendent is asking me tons of questions about the guy. When I said he worked for Prick Company, well, that didn't go over well. From my understanding, Prick Company was at risk of losing the contract they had with Stupid Inc. over this. Prick Company then started digging around, and I heard they found out who it was, and the guy lost his job over it. The kicker? He wasn't even working for Stupid Inc. that day. The superintendent told me they didn't have Prick Company out working on anything. One of his employees had seen the truck I described right on the other side of Stupid Inc.'s site. He hadn't even stopped there. As far as anyone knows, he actually was there as a private user, and had he just said as much, none of this would have happened. The next story is called Refill Please. This took place in 2017. My sister and I were out for brunch and had a lovely time at an upscale rooftop restaurant in the heart of our city. The kind with a full setting, cloth napkins and white tablecloth. The kind where a pancake entree has the word mélange and mimosas are $16. We had a great time, even though the service was a little rushed. We get it. Saturday brunch means a lot of tables with a speedy turnover. My sister had been a waitress all through college. We even joked about her applying for the weekend shifts, since she'd make great tips. When it came time to settle the check, we noticed we had been charged for 2 coffees, which we didn't order nor receive. While handing the bill back, I asked that they be taken off. "Well, you got coffee." "I'm sorry, we actually didn't." "See?" I showed the waiter the pristine empty coffee cups. "No, there are 2 coffee cups on the table. There are 2 coffee cups on every table." At this point he kind of huffs and rolls his eyes and says he doesn't have the authority to remove anything from the bill. Before I can ask for someone who can, he smirks. He says the manager on duty just went on break and we'd have to wait 30 minutes for her, but he'd be asking us to wait at the host stand since they need the table. My sister and I look at each other and we both get the same idea. Well, okay. Guess if we are being charged for coffee, I'd like a refill. Oh, for me too. And can you bring cream and sugar? It was at this moment he knew he screwed up. We spent another 20 minutes sipping coffee and keeping him from turning the table. We asked for refills once, and I asked if they had any raw sugar packets. By the end of it, he was pointedly ignoring us. We kinda giggled about it, and I made a very dramatic show of flourishing my card, putting it in the booklet and setting it up right. My sister even tried to flag him down, but he refused to look in our direction. We finished and hung around until he came back with his manager. He was smirking again. Big lips, that guy. I have to say, that facial expression stayed with me. The waiter said in a sickly sweet voice, "Okay, you two, we have a seating time limit to allow our other guests the opportunity to eat with us. Will that be all today? Well, we've been waiting for you to take our check. I was trying to get your attention earlier, but you must have been busy." I offer him my card and the booklet, and I've never seen a human turn red so quickly. He mutters that he'll be right back and marches off to run it. While we were waiting, the manager asked us about our experience. We said we both had a great time and we'd be back, and relayed what happened. At least we ended up enjoying the coffee. We paid, left a decent tip, and skedaddled. But it felt good knowing he probably cost himself a ticket's worth of tips over $9 in coffee. The third story is called Punch In For Work. I started working for my uncle 2 years ago. He has a company with some business partners of his. My work is directly under him, learning every perk of running the business and also being a personal assistant to him. We settled on a contract in which I'd receive a fixed monthly amount with a bonus of an additional salary by the end of every year. And while I had no overtime pay, I had a total control of my work schedule. And by total, I mean total. I could come to the job just 3 days a week as long as I delivered results. My uncle knew my work ethic, so it was kind of a win for him, since when needed I'd work 60 or 65 hours a week. Also, I could work during a holiday. We have around 10 to 12 festivity days that are non-working days. Also, I was available on call nearly 24/7 if anyone needed anything from me work-related. Work was running great until September last year, when my uncle took a couple of days to travel to another state to meet new clients. One of his associates, let's call him Gordon, took his role in the company for those days to support some of his roles. Due to having worked a 14-hour shift the day before the travel and 2 12-hour shifts the week before, I was dead tired. And since we had little to no work piled up, I took an early leave the first day he was there and arrived way after lunch the day after. I then started working normally from the 3rd day until he came back a week later. He was furious at my attitude, berating my uncle for even contracting me in the first place, since I don't even work full regular hours. He demanded among the other business partners that I at least punch in my working hours, and if I don't meet the quota, those would be deducted from my monthly payment. There are a ton of labor laws where I live. Employees have a certain amount of hours required to work each month. Every hour short of that is deducted from the monthly payment, and every hour beyond is paid as overtime. The other partners backed up Gordon's claim, stating that I needed more supervision on what I was doing, which my uncle was forced to comply. His only remark was, "Since we are doing this by law, it means that we also will pay him overtime according to the law, right?" They all agreed, and from October forward I would start punching my hours on the job every day. Gordon was expecting a decrease in my pay due to being in the company at my least busy week since I arrived, when in fact I usually pull a ton of overtime. Also, if they need to call me after I left, they have to punch in the hours from the moment I left until I finished the call, resulting in free overtime pay. By law, the rate of overtime pay increases the more overtime is done in a month. My average overtime hours pay is a third higher than the average overtime hours of other employees that have the same monthly salary as me. My monthly income is now 30% higher due to the overtime I started receiving. In a busy month, that could get even close to 50% higher, even though I'm actually working a little less than before. Gordon can't go back to the same situation as before, since my uncle made sure that once I started punching my hours, there was no going back, and all partners approved. The last story is called Starting a Trend. I live in a place with a pretty strict HOA. Strict as in we have flags in the yard to tell us how tall the grass can be, and regulations not just on the color but on the brand of paint we are allowed to use for our houses. I hate mowing the lawn. The sound is awful and it hurts my shoulder to do it. And my wife had an incident, so she doesn't mow anymore. But the grass has to be cut. The only company we are allowed to hire for yard work is the one that works on the green belt, which is, coincidentally, owned by a board member's jerk kid. So I went to a buddy of mine and asked if I could rent his goat for the day. I've since been informed she broke better. He said yeah, loaded her up in the back of his truck and brought her over. We hung out, watched the goat do her job and watched my neighbors watch my goat do her job. I knew that even if the HOA didn't like it, there was nothing they could do about it. We aren't allowed to raise livestock. Sure. But if, say, the HOA's president's daughter wants a pony for her birthday, then it's okay for them to hang out for a few hours. And if I want a goat to do my yard work for me, I've apparently started a trend. And with that, we end today's video. Let me know what you think about the stories. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the stories and today's video? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what I do and want to support me, please subscribe and hit the like button. I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.